Aloha gang, Dr. Russ Rosen here. Welcome to the OHC community live class. We're going to see if it actually goes live. If you've been watching these, you recognize that it has not gone live as of late, and I've had to record it. So I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure it is going live. We're going to see right now. And it's not showing me live yet. So let's see about now. If I refresh, holy cow, it's showing me live. What an amazing thing. Fantastic. Okay, so, and Bree, if you're there, aloha. We've been emailing back and forth. Thanks for just sending me your email. We are here 3 Tuesdays per month at 1:30 California time, Pacific time. And you know, if you want to thrive in a care versus care, true optimal health model, that's what we do. We're starting our series over again. So remember, you can go to the guides section and you can watch the entire series. Today is on certainty. Then we're doing several in a row on communications, consult, exam, reported findings, daily interaction, re-exam, re-report. Then we go into how to run a business, how to build a dream team, how to hire, how to train, how to do performance appraisals, bonuses, etc. And then we go into flow and growth, and then we're back to the beginning again. So today we're back to the beginning. If you are out there and you would do me a favor and just say aloha to me, you can go ahead and comment below, say that you are there and where you're from. I'd sure appreciate that. And if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and let me know. Again, by commenting below. If you're watching this on a replay, you can just go ahead and comment below and I will answer your questions. I'm really good at that. Okay, so today we're going to talk about certainty. And what I know about all of us is we all want to help our patients get the best results we possibly can. Most all of us, it's just a passion of ours. We want to get good money for our efforts. A lot of us have real issues around money, but many of us want to be able to get paid well for what we do. And we want to have a thriving practice and a wonderful life. When I'm working with doctors one-on-one, I tell them, if all I did was help you grow your practice, but you didn't end up with a better life, I would have failed you. So I really want us to be able to look at having a great life as well as a wonderful practice. Now, many of us have concerns that we're just not getting the results that we had hoped for, either with our patients or inside of our practice. We're not making the money that we had hoped for. We're not serving the numbers of people we wanted to serve. Many of us are just burnt out where our rewards don't match our expectations. Many of us get frustrated that we get such great results with patients, but we're the best kept secret in town. We keep trying different things to bring in the right kinds of new patients, but nothing works. And some of us have had horrible problems with staff. What I want to talk with you about today is the foundation of all of that. All of this, the foundation underlying all of that is right between the ears. It's our certainty. Now, if you've watched any of my modules, I talk about headspace and procedures. Okay, so today it's all about headspace. The headspace is critical because they need to be aligned with the procedures, or the procedures need to be aligned with them. So if we stand a chance of fixing these kinds of problems and having the practice and lives of our dreams of what we want, we got to get clean between the ears. And that starts with headspace and certainty. Now, when doctors start to clear this up and they get clear on their certainty, it's the biggest paradigm shift that I see. To me, a paradigm shift is when one fish says to another, "What's all this talk about water?" Like, it's the first time they recognize they're in water. When you have a massive paradigm shift, everything can change, and change for the better inside of your practice. So to me, it comes down to this: your certainty is the foundation of absolutely everything else you do period, full stop, bar none. It's the difference between a black belt hitting a brick and a white belt. The black belt breaks a brick, white belt breaks your hand. Don't know if you saw the little video I did on that, but it was a lot of fun. I talk with doctors a lot about oak trees versus radishes. So people will tell me, you know, I want this kind of practice, and these are all things I'm doing for this kind of practice, but this is what I have. You know, I want an oak tree. And they tell me, I took an acorn and I planted it and I watered it and I fertilized it, but I got radishes. And what I'm here to tell you is you didn't plant an acorn. You planted radish seeds. Now, I know you think you planted an acorn, but that's not how it works. Plant an acorn, get an oak tree. Plant radish seeds, get radishes and maybe some weeds. So really important to be clear about what we're planting. Once we're clear about what it is that we do, we can learn to communicate it. We can learn to market it. We can get our team on board with it, but we need to know what it is first. And it is everything from what your office looks like, to what you offer, to who you hire, to how you communicate, to how you market it. Everything is dependent on your certainty. Now, my experience is most people don't think they need this. Most people just want to get to the next thing that's going to bring in a good new patient or any new patient. But my experience after coaching doctors now for 26 years is that most all of us, even if we've spent quite a bit of time on our headspace and our certainty, have room for improvement. And at every level, when we have less contradictions, we have greater growth. So Ayn Rand, I'll paraphrase, says, you know, when you have a contradiction, it leads to destruction. The level of destruction is congruent, I always forget that word, with the level of destruction, or comparable, whatever it is. So the thing is that if you don't have the practice that you want, there are contradictions. And the more we clear up the contradictions on every level, the more we get what we want in life. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be super successful. You could be dying on the vine. You could just be starting out right now. You could be having challenges. You could not be having challenges. It doesn't matter where you're at in your practice. There's always room to clean up in between the ears. There's always home and there's always Homer. So I hear this all the time. As we get clear about who we are, what we do, why we do, what we don't do, why we don't do those things, we'll see a God wink. The universe is winking at us. When people go through this full program that I have, which is a 3-hour program in the Learning Center, when you go through that program, across the board, people will tell me after they've been through it and they've been through the misery of it, and for most of us, there's a lot of misery with it, people will come out of the woodwork. All of a sudden, the practice has a bump. It's just the universe going, good job, you're on the right path. So, what would we say that the top practices in the world have in common? They're great at the work they do. They're technique freaks, right? No, not true. Lots of people out there thriving really aren't that great. They build great relationships with their patients. Not really. If you've seen, there's a lot of old gruff chiropractors out there. Lay down, do what I say, blah, blah, blah. Big practices. So it's not that. It's your ability to communicate. Again, not true. They have efficiency in their systems. Again, there's lots of people with great efficient systems that are great technicians that are dying on the vine. It's certainty. It's certainty. All great practices have great certainty. They're clear that they can deliver the goods. They're clear about who they are, what they do, why they do what they don't do, why they don't do those things, etc. So what are some symptoms that we may not have certainty? Well, it's hard to ask for money. Anyone have that challenge? Or we ask, but they can't pay. They have to go home and think about it. And the reality is for most people, if they value it, they'll pay for it. Not for everyone. It's not true. You know, I have a cousin who's homeless. He can't afford your care, period. But for most people that are coming into your office, if they value it, they can afford your care. Look at their sneakers that they're wearing, their shoes, $500. Look at their watch. Okay, bit watch. We're anxious about doing examinations, report of findings, re-evals, re-reports. We're uncomfortable giving healthcare talks or doing screenings. Now, it might just be that you have a fear of speaking, but for most of us, we're just not congruent. We're afraid that we're going to be found out, that we're not who we say we are, because we're not clear, we're not certain. We're afraid to tell people what we know they need to hear, the whole truth. We use scare tactics or manipulation to try and get people to follow through with our recommendations. We have problems sleeping at night. Now, could it be that you have a bad pillow or a bad bed? Sure. But oftentimes people have a lot of anxiety because there are contradictions between what they know is true and what they're actually doing. Or that what they know is they don't know. I'm confused. It could be that we're feeling burnt out. It could be that we're not having the success that we desire. These are all symptoms of not having certainty: a low acceptance rate or a low sign-up rate, a high dropout rate, a low retention. In my world, if your retention, number of patient visits divided by number of new patients, the average is 20 and going down. If yours is under 60, you're not running a true optimal health kind of practice. At least that's just my opinion. Now, does that make a difference on the technique you use? Sure, if you're doing NUCA, you don't recommend a lot of visits. If you're doing CBP, you recommend a lot of visits. But in general, average person, if they knew what you did, they valued the care, they were happy to pay for it, how many visits would they see you over a lifetime? 15, 20, 60, 100, 200? Right? It's worth thinking that through. And if they're not seeing you that much, it's a certainty and communication issue. Obviously, if you have self-doubt, that would be a classic one. Collection issues, troubles asking for money. What do other people think of you? People will think that I'm afraid of what they're going to think of me, what they're going to say about me if I go from spending this much time a visit to that much time a visit, or if I raise my fees, right? Those are certainty issues. Look, if you're not 100% congruent with every thought, word, deed, and action, then you're going to end up having challenges. That's where these contradictions come in. So do any of these resonate for you? Do you recognize that you have any of these challenges? If so, there's a very good chance that you've got certainty issues, and it's really worth diving deeper into this subject. Now, Thursday at 11 o'clock California time, we'll be diving deep into these questions, and it's in a Zoom format. So I'm asking questions, we're having discussions, I'm helping you get clarity and helping unravel the contradictions in your mind, and it's really worth coming to that. If you would like to come to that, go ahead and put club below, and I'll give you a free month into the club so you can show up. If you can't show up, you can at least watch the video where I walk doctors through it. And we'll have doctors that are just high volume, just adjust doctors, brain-based doctors, functional medicine, nutrition-based doctors, like you name it. I've got docs in there that are thriving because they're clear in their head, in their certainty, as well as their systems. So how do we acquire certainty? Well, what I always hear is fake it till you make it. And that doesn't work for me. I just don't buy it. I think fake it till you make it, you break your hand, not the brick. So first we need to do is clarify what certainty is to you, not to me. It doesn't matter what certainty is to me or your technique guru. Just doesn't matter. It matters what certainty is to you, what your truths are. We all have different versions of reality, and you got to figure yours out. And it's changing all the time. You grow and evolve, hopefully. So is there a right one? Is there a wrong one? Nope. There's about you finding yours. So I'm just going to lay out my formula for certainty. Now, this is literally a 3-hour course that I have doctors go through in answering these particular questions and then sharing what other doctors have come up with and helping you see blind spots, etc. Who are you as a healthcare provider? What is it that you do? Why do you do it? What makes you different? And if the answer is we care, that doesn't make you different. If you're a chiropractor, what is a subluxation? If you're thinking it's a bone out of place, you really need to listen to my module on what is a subluxation, especially if you're doing something other than diversified. If you're doing any of the AK-based techniques, if you're doing something down on the foot that helps the neck, how is that a bone out of place? Right? If you're doing nutrition, if you're doing neuro-emotional work, how is that a bone out of place? Like, knock it off. That's just not true. Do you use supplements? If so, why or why not? Do you use neuro-emotional work? If so, why or why not? Do you give lifestyle advice? If so, why or why not? Do you use any kind of therapies? If so, why or why not? Now, once you've spent the time and you've really gone through all of these kinds of questions, we get to the place where we're going to get to in the club. So in the club on Thursday, 11 o'clock, we're going to fly through that, and then we're going to get to this. So what is your umbrella? My umbrella is I help people get healthy, stay healthy, and have the best life possible. That's what I do. How do I accomplish it? Well, I do these styles of chiropractic for these reasons. I do this type of neuro-emotional work for these reasons. I do this type of nutrition for these reasons. I give this kind of lifestyle advice for these reasons. If you're an acupuncturist, I use this type of needling or dry needling or herbs or whatever for these reasons. You want to be very clear about here's what I accomplish and here's how I accomplish it. And then we have to look at, and how would you explain that? I use QNRT, I use NET, I use QST, I use Activator, I use Diversified, I use Gonstead. How do I explain that to somebody in a sentence or two that makes sense to an average human being? How do I help them understand how I'm different from other people that they've seen? So we are going to go through that. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? Why don't you do it? And I would suggest if there's one call that you want to test out to see if it's different in the club than me just talking at you like this is the one. So the way it works is we've got the community here where I share what I hope you find as valuable information. Again, you can go into the guide section. You can go through any and all of the ones we've already done. In the club, it's the best of series. So we don't go through all of the importance of certainty. We go through that one important piece. Then there's the Learning Center. And in the Learning Center, there are 6 modules in System 1 Headspace. And that module is the importance of certainty. So obviously a lot more, right? Then there's several other modules in relationship to Headspace. And of course, then we have, how to build a business and build a dream team and communications and marketing and flow and growth. So again, if you'd like to jump into the club or at least see what we're doing in the club, put club below and I will go ahead and send you a link. Dr. Jan, aloha, brother. Good to see you. I assume I will see you in the club on Thursday. I don't see any other questions there. So I hope you found value. If so, please share with others. Again, put club below and I will send you a free link to the club. I hope you found value. Again, as always, much love and aloha. Bye, gang.